The auction hall on Xerith Station hummed with the electronic chatter of a dozen alien species. Desiree stood on the platform, her violet skin gleaming under the harsh lights, her forearms crossed in defiant resignation. As a Calrathian female, she'd been seized by debt collectors when her family's mining operation collapsed. Now she was property to be sold to the highest bidder. The bidding was lackluster. Most species found Calrathians too aggressive, too proud. But then a voice cut through the murmurs, a human voice speaking in accented but clear galactic standard. 50,000 credits. The auctioneer's tentacles quivered with surprise. Sold. To the human in the back. James approached the platform, his dark eyes meeting Desiree's golden ones. He was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, brown hair going gray at the temples, wearing a simple merchant's jumpsuit. But there was something in his gaze that made her spine stiffen. Not cruelty, not hunger, something else entirely. Come on, he said simply, offering his hand to help her down. She ignored it, leaping down herself with practiced grace. The transport to his ship was silent. Desiree had heard stories about humans, the galaxy's newest arrivals, barely a century in space. They were supposed to be weak, their single-star system producing nothing of value. Yet this one had just spent a small fortune on her. His ship, the Wandering Providence, was modest but well-maintained. As the airlock sealed behind them, James finally spoke. "I'm going to release you," he said, pulling out a datapad. "Sign here. It transfers your contract to yourself. You're free." Desiree stared. "What deception is this?" "No deception." James's voice was tired. I can't stand the thought of sentient beings being bought and sold. So when I have the credits, I buy people and set them free. You paid 50,000 credits for nothing? For you to have your life back. That's not nothing. Something cracked in Desiree's chest. In Calrathian culture, such an act created a debt deeper than money, a life debt. But she said nothing, just stared at the datapad. "Where will I go?" she whispered. "My family's gone. My homeworld won't take me back. I'm marked as sold property." James rubbed his face. "You can stay here. I could use help with the ship. I'll pay you fair wages." That was 6 months ago. Now Desiree stood in the same cargo bay, her hand resting on her abdomen where new life grew. The medical scanner had confirmed it 3 days ago, and she still hadn't told James. How could she? Calrathian human hybridization was supposed to be impossible. Every xenobiologist said so. Yet here she was, pregnant with James's child. It had happened during the Helion Nebula run. They'd been stranded when the hyperdrive failed, waiting for parts to arrive. 3 weeks in the vast silence of space, just the two of them. James had taught her to play chess. She'd taught him Calrathian combat meditation. And one night, as twin stars painted the viewport in crimson and gold, they'd stopped being captain and crew. They'd become something more. But Desiree knew the law. The galactic concordat was clear. Cross-species progeny from purchased beings automatically became property of the buyer, regardless of later manumission. It was an ancient law designed to prevent exploitation, but it could be twisted. Some species used it to breed workers. If anyone discovered her pregnancy, they could claim James had bought her specifically for this purpose. He could be arrested, imprisoned, his reputation destroyed. The child could be seized. And Desiree? She would rather die than let that happen. "You're thinking too loud." She turned. James stood in the doorway holding 2 cups of coffee. One regular, one with the Calrathian spice blend she preferred. "I'm not thinking anything," she lied. He set down the cups and crossed his arms. "Desiree, I've known something was wrong for days. Just tell me." The words tumbled out, all of it. The pregnancy, the law, the danger they were both in. James was silent for a long moment. Then he laughed. Actually laughed, a sound she'd rarely heard from him. "Is this funny to you?" she demanded, all forearms clenching into fists. "Oh yes, maybe." He ran his hands through his hair. "Desiree, do you know why humans have such strict laws about personal freedom? It's because we spent thousands of years enslaving each other. We know exactly how evil that system is, how it destroys everything it touches." He stepped closer. "There's a human concept called marriage. It's a voluntary bond between people who choose to build a life together. No ownership, no property, just choice." "I know what marriage is," Desiree said softly. "Most species have similar concepts." "Then marry me." James took her upper hands in his. Not because of the law, not because of the baby, but because I love you, because I want to wake up every morning and see you, because you make me laugh, you challenge me, and you've become the center of my universe. That's not how you propose, Desiree whispered, but her voice was breaking. Probably not. I'm terrible at this, James smiled. But here's what I know. If we're married under human law before we register the pregnancy, you're my spouse, not my property. The child is ours, not anyone's commodity. And more importantly, he touched her face gently. It's what I want. Not because I have to, because I choose to. Desiree felt tears tracking down her cheeks. In Calrathian culture, crying was seen as weakness. But James had taught her that humans viewed tears as honesty, as trust. I choose this too, she said. I choose you. They were married 3 days later, in a ceremony broadcast across the human networks to establish legal precedent. A Calrathian merchant and a human trader standing together not as property and owner, but as equals who chose each other. When their daughter was born 7 months later, she had her mother's violet skin and her father's brown eyes. They named her Hope, and across the galaxy, the story spread. The human who bought a slave to set her free, who loved her not as property but as a person, who helped create new life not through exploitation but through choice. It became another tale in the growing legend of humanity. The species that had known slavery and chosen to destroy it wherever they found it, even when the galaxy accepted it as normal. The species that believed in freedom, in love, in the radical notion that all sentient beings deserve to choose their own destiny. Humanity indeed, And